So, hi Cancer, my name is Chris and this is your beautiful reading for November 2025 and I'm diving right in. I hope you're fine, I hope your energy is right, and let's just see if we can raise this frequency just a little bit. One card is kind of coming out to me, it's the Five of Wands. Five of Wands in the center of your Celtic cross. It's not a fight. It's not a fight. It might look like that on first sight, but there are no swords, it's just sticks, it's just training. So whatever comes along, whatever challenge comes along, take its body, right? It's not a fight. Keep your cool, keep your temperance. Don't get triggered into your fight mode, right? It's just a training. And if you just handle it like that, it will be beautiful. That's a good consciousness you're in. That's the foundation. There's the Nine of Cups, beautiful, one of the most beloved tarot cards of the deck, at least in my book. The Nine of Cups guy, yeah. You know, you just, whatever comes along, you can handle it. You just keep your cool. That's the new consciousness that you're in right now. And the crown of your reading, the crown of the Celtic cross, is the Nine of Cups guy. You got your talents, your divine humble pride. You're proud of these talents. There's the Ace of Pentacles in the recent past. You might make something out of these talents right now. There's Justice. Beautiful. I love the Justice card because, you know, it's a channel for empaths. It's a channel for people who might went to narcissistic abuse, and the Justice card is always welcome. There's the Death card. And the Death card is not a bad card, right? The conflict is ending. You're handling the conflict differently, right? People would still try to have a fight with you, right? People will still try to convince you into fighting, but as long as you rest within yourself, as long as you keep your cool, temperance, Ace of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, you know your stuff, right? You know your talents, divine humble pride, and you're just not taking the bait, right? And that's the Death card. You're no longer engaging in any sort of conflict. You got bigger fish to fry. There's the outside world position with the Page of Cups. So you might, it's not just like people are trying to trigger you into fighting. They are also in the outside position wonderful people that are coming into your life when you just get rid of this conflict mindset, right? That is going to die. And then there's Justice, because you're attracting these wonderful new people, right? Page of Cups is an unexpected opportunity. You know, somebody is coming along and you're going to meet somebody. So keep your eyes open, right? And it might be someone, you know, if you're at a party, for example, and you usually the default setting is that you're looking for whatever you're attracted to, right? But maybe there's someone who is not like your ideal friend, partner, whatever, right? But has something to offer too, something unexpected. There's something that you don't expect in a different form that you're usually looking for. There's the Two of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands. Death card, Ten of Wands, you're wrapping something up, and I think it's an old consciousness and a new consciousness already there. So instead of looking, bottom of the deck is the conflict that is over. Five of Swords, that's the conflict that you have won, and you might ask yourself, was it really necessary to fight that conflict? Well, it's in your past. It's kind of the underlying energy you're coming out of this conflict. Whatever comes along now is not a conflict. Why? Because you're not seeing it as a conflict. Because the conflict is dead, right? And you're leaving behind that, bringing about justice, and you're raising your own frequency. And all these wonderful opportunities coming in the outside world, right? That's a little fish lurking out of that cup that is offered to you. I lost my train of thought. I was actually talking about, outside position, page of cups, right? So you're attracting people that are in the same frequency, not necessarily in the same form as you. So be open-minded to meet people who are not within your usual go-to group of people, right? Or what hopefully I make sense to you. But hopefully you understand what I mean. So these are not, just be open-minded, right? There's someone unexpected coming in, outside position, beautiful energy, right? Queen of Cups here with the 5 of Wands. You just keep your cool, you just keep your emotions in check. You're not getting triggered, right? Whatever comes along, you can handle it if you keep your cool, if you rest within yourself, if you concentrate on your talents and what you want to do with these talents, and do not ever let anybody talk you out of it. You're capable. Page of Pentacles clarifying Temperance card, right? So you can do whatever you want right now, right? As long as you keep your cool, as long as you keep your new vision of yourself and let go of the old conflict mindset, right? 5 of Swords, that's the old conflict, that might be narcissistic abuse, but it's also a way of how you were handling the outside world or engagement with the outside world through a lens of conflict maybe, right? This is ending. There's the 6 of Pentacles, give and take, and there's the 10 of Pentacles. So you get something out of it big time if you let this conflict mindset die, right? And it's really a conscious decision, You have healthy boundaries, you stand up for yourself, you can say no, you can say yes if you really want to, right? But you don't need to justify yourself if you say no, you don't need to explain yourself. And you're not taking the bait of any narcissist that lurks around you, right? That's the Death card, right? You're really setting strong boundaries, right? And by you're enforcing your inner peace, you're protecting your inner peace. There's so much potential here, and you're going after that. And I think this is a circle of development here for you. Really ending the conflict means not just disengaging from the conflict, but also disengaging from the conflict mindset, right? Page of Wands, Strength card, yeah, steady, slow and steady wins the race here. The new consciousness brings justice, right? You resting within yourself, concentrating on your stuff. And here's the clarifier for the Death card. Again, Swords energy. You're ending this conflict mindset. And you're ending overthinking, worrying too much, using your mind to catastrophize and all this jazz, right? No, you don't do this. Why? Because you got so many blessings. You got 2 aces, you got the 9 of Cups. Look at this guy. He's just happy in what it is that he's doing, right? Divine humble pride. These are his talents here in the background, 9 cups. He doesn't need a crown, he doesn't need a throne, right? He's well dressed, but he's sitting on a wooden bench, but he's smiling, right? He's just proud of what he is doing and he's going for it. And there's Pentacles and Swords energy here in its fullest potential. So you have to do something to make it happen. How do you do it? Joyfully, right? You just work on it. You don't engage in any conflicts. You don't taking any baits of any narcissists. And then there's the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords. You can make this happen. And what the most important thing here is today, or not necessarily today, but in November, whenever you are snapping back into guilt, fear, shame, anger, resentment, pain, overthinking. Yeah, these are natural feelings, and maybe you have been through narcissistic abuse, right? Maybe you have been through a dirty fight for quite a while. You came out of victorious, but the victory of this fight is you changing your inner consciousness, your inner state of mind, right? By not engaging into conflict. And part of this conflict is happening in your mind, right? Overthinking, catastrophizing. You know, whenever you lower your frequency into guilt, fear, shame, rage, anger, maybe even hatred, worrying too much, overthinking, oh, what happened was so bad, and what he did and she did, you know, always pointing in the past towards guilt. And when you point into the past towards guilt, you are neglecting your responsibility and your possibilities in the here and now. And that is, when you focus on that, intemperance, taking it kind of, you know, whatever challenge is arising, you can handle it, concentrate on that. And whenever you fall back into, oh my God, should I fight? Should I be angry? Should I, you know, oh my God, can I handle this? You just cut the cord of that thought, catch yourself thinking it, right? And then just say, no, that's not what I'm doing, right? And this constant mindfulness practice, basically, of cutting off negative thoughts, cutting off negative ideas, disengaging from negativity. And I'm not preaching toxic positivity here, right? If you feel angry, period, right? But just understanding, and that's new consciousness clarified by the King of Wands. King of Wands is in command of his passion, in command of his fire. You know, the King of Wands is not swept away by his own passion or his own emotions, right? He's not swept away by his own anger. You know, he's not negating this anger. Maybe he is angry, but he knows how to handle it, you know? And the Death card is the end of this conflict mindset where you're trying to negate something instead of transcending and integrating it. Oh, okay. There is devilish energy here. Okay, that's interesting. So you have a choice always when you engage with other people. In November, that's very strong here. And the choice is between the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands, right? Do you want to continue the fight? You will find people in the outside world who offer you both, and you have a choice. If someone comes along trying to provoke you, trying to trigger you, are you going for the Five of Swords? You know, are you going for a dirty fight? Are you lowering your frequency? You know, are you going down to their level to fight them on their level? Because that's what the devil wants, right? The devil wants to invite you to come down to his level, right? Or you can say, that's not what I want. I can deal with that. I got bigger fish to fry. I keep my emotions and my passion, right? My fire in check. And I just, you know, rise above it, right? And that's a choice. Yeah, you have been through something, that's for sure. And the Ten of Wands is clarified by the Ten of Wands, and you're wrapping it up, and it's the end of 2025. Bottom of the deck, the King of Swords, you learned your lesson. Okay, so you're wrapping this up. And what are you wrapping up? I say it again. The conflict mindset. You can't change other people, right? You're not changing them by winning an argument, and can't fight them, right? There are people who want to fight with you, all the time. They don't want necessarily to win arguments. I mean, of course, narcissistic people want to win arguments, but they actually want your submission, and they want you coming down to their level and roll around into the dirt with them, right? So if you're fighting a pig, you might be rolling around in the dirt soon, right? Because that's where the pig is, and where the pig is having its fights, right? The question is, do you want to go down there? No. So cut the crap, right? Cut the conflict. Cut this temptation, or resist the temptation to go down into the gutter fighting pigs. You don't need to you rise above it, right? There's so much potential here. You can just rise above it. Focus on the Nine of Cups guy, right? You got your talents and you can make something out of it. Whatever comes along, don't take the bait of the narcissist. Golden light, integrity. Integrity. Love's golden light shines upon you, and something is healed or comes to fruition. It has been a long and at times difficult journey, but you have stayed your course and remained true. Because of this, something you have long desired will now manifest, or a situation, relationship in need of healing will be healed. You will one day look back and see how all that has transpired, has been necessary because it made you stronger and wiser. The integrity and courage you show will continue to positively impact those around you. This will help them greatly when they too are faced with doubts or challenges. And it's really about, how do you face your own insecurities? How do you face your own, doubts and challenges? And how do you deal with someone who is triggering you, who might be trying to trigger you into guilt, fear, shame, who might say something, indicate something, maybe even between the lines, between sentences, just a look, just a tiny little, how do you say this? Stab with the needle, right? Almost, right? Unnoticeable, but there it is, right? And you can lash out. You can take the bait of the narcissist and full on go into a conflict. That's the old thing. That's the old way of reactivity, right? If you react to everything that comes along, you're easily manipulated. But if you instead keep your cool, right, that's a new consciousness, basically. And you're wrapping up the old consciousness. You're letting the old reactive mindset go. And you're becoming much more southern and powerful and stable if you just are not triggered by outside stimuli constantly. If you become aware of that. We are called to be architects of the future, not its victims. And in order to do that, you got the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords here. You must keep your cool. There's the Temperance card. You got everything you need. Just because someone is family doesn't mean you have to tolerate lies, chaos, drama, manipulation, and disrespect. Is there a narcissist in your family who is trying to trigger you? Is there a narcissist in your family that you kind of feel like you can't get rid of? There are several options, right? You can gray rock them. That's a strategy where you just minimize exposure to them. If it's someone you have a very strong family tie to and you're not willing to cut this tie, right, then change yourself. You can't change other people, but you can change how you react or not react to people, right? Maybe you're responding instead of reacting to it, right? Reaction is always instantly. Someone is poking you and you're reacting to it, right? But if you're responding to it, there's a little gap between the trigger and maybe you choose to respond to it, right? But then you have thought about it and you have felt about it and you're sure what you want to communicate, right? That's a response, not just a reaction. And some people just don't deserve neither a reaction nor a response. And you can gray rock them, right? So you just be like a stone, right? Literally be like a stone. Yes, no, thank you. No, thank you. Something like that, right? If you're not willing to completely end something, right? But here's a reminder for somebody needs to hear this. Just because someone is family, that doesn't mean you have to tolerate lies, chaos, drama, manipulation, or disrespect. And you're really finished with this. And that's setting healthy boundaries. And you're wrapping something up here. And if you really want to piss off people, right, don't fight them. Don't go down into the gutter with them. Don't fight the pigs in the mud, because that's what pigs want. They want you to be them, with them in the dirt, fighting them, rolling around in the dirt, right? Don't do that. That's what the narcissist wants you to do. React to his nonsense and come down to his level. But if you really want to piss off people, right, you can do two things. Attain some happiness or tell the truth. There's 2 times the Ace of Swords. You learned a great deal. There's the King of Swords, clarifying the 5 of Swords, right? So you learned in taking the bait, in falling for the schemes of the narcissist, you learned a lot. Now it's the time for justice. And justice comes about by ending the engagement with the narcissist. No longer taking the bait, basically. You have 2 choices. You can tell the truth, right? Or you can focus all of your attention to create happiness, right? This is the choice you're about to make here, and I think you already made it, because the 9 of Cups is at the crown of your reading. That's joy, that's happiness, going for contentment, right? You don't need to be true or right all the time, right? Sometimes you just have to, let stupid people win an argument. They're not winning the argument, of course, but you just say yes or no, and then you're gone. If you say no, then you're gone. And you can also say, you can shrug your shoulders. Oh, well, that's your way of thinking it, or saying, or that's your way of seeing it. And be done with it, right? Let stupid people win arguments, right? And instead of engaging with them and fighting with them, because they're very sick people, maybe not even sick, maybe not even evil, maybe they're just really not even smart enough to be as evil as we give them credit for. Don't engage with them. And this disengagement thing is happening in November. It is better to be alone than to be in bad company. You got enough beautiful potential here to take care of, to work with, to create your own justice. And they say it again, your own justice comes about if you stop fighting those who thrive in fighting. It's not like they stop fighting when you win the fight. They keep fighting when you win the fight, because they just love fighting. And there's so much better here for you than that. Dear Spirit, bring a gentle touch, right? And a gentle touch primarily to yourself in terms of self-respect, self-love, focusing on what you want to create. Let's just read what this says here. The time has come to be gentle and diplomatic when dealing with others. Gentle and diplomatic, right? You might have found yourself in a situation where negotiations are necessary in order to reach your goal. Be mindful of the words you choose, but do not worry. Dear Spirit reminds you that you have the ability to be sure-footed and confident while showing humility and respect for others. You will find that your capacity for calm and grounded communication is heightened at this time. Follow the way of Dear Spirit and you will do well, gaining the respect of others and finding common ground that is pleasing to you. Remember that understanding others and their needs will be more powerful at this time than putting your own first. If you do that, you will be rewarded tenfold. That's exactly what I said. Much more focused on gentleness, on kindness, but also kindness to yourself. Instead of calling someone out, you just disengage from him, right? And you treat people with respect, even if they are narcissistic, You don't need to, don't go down into the gutter with them. You're better than this, right? Gentle, divine, humble pride. You don't need to put someone down in order to, sometimes you just win by not caring, but not caring in a way, or disengagement in a way, not confrontational, not calling someone out, not fighting someone, but just, you can kill someone with kindness, right? Much more effective than fighting the pig, right? Because you remain your level, your niveau, right? And this is what you're balancing out right now, right? But you got this. As I said, Golden Knight, integrity, very important. Integrity, you upholding your standards and you're not going down to the standards of other people who try to trigger you into some sort of conflict. Then nobody can touch you, right? And that's all I got. And I hope it resonates with you. And maybe you have been through a situation like this where someone was constantly trying to trigger you and trying to bring you down to their level. And now you're just done with it. Now you're just wrapping it up, right? Just because someone is family doesn't mean you have to tolerate lies, chaos, drama, manipulation, or disrespect. We are called to be architects of the future, not its victims. Buckminster Fuller. So concentrate on what you want to create instead of concentrating on what you want to fight. So do not fight the old system. Do not fight what you don't want. Embrace and nurture what you want. Bring a gentle touch to it, right? You can be kind to people who are assholes. And in that kindness, you're just elevating yourself. You don't need to be kind like, buying them a beer or whatever, Not kind in that regard, but you're not taking the bait. You're not, no, thank you, not today, right? That's all I got. And share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. Have you had encounters like this, and are you in a situation where you just say, no, not today, Satan, I'm done with this. Now would die, let me know. See you soon. Ciao.